Hey everybody, Espinosa, so glad to be in front of you. Just blessed by God to go ahead and do this. Meaning to do this for a while, but I want to go ahead and just get it done now because I think it's a perfect opportunity. Beginning of the year, so I know you're excited about starting this game development journey. Some of y'all probably waiting on this forever. So, sorry, we're here now. Now, obviously, this is the game engine that we're going to use. There's so many that's out there, but this is like the easiest way to get into game development and also be able to export your games on different platforms. And we'll talk about what that is shortly. So GDevelop, and I am an advocate for GDevelop, is basically a free and open source game engine. So you do not have to pay for it. And you can create 2D and 3D games. Pretty simple. Obviously it's going to say no code. So there's no code, but if you are a coder, there is a place where you actually can code. We'll talk about that later on in the video. You can download this on so many different devices, right? And so, for example, you can download this on your iPhone. You can download it on your Android device. You can download it on your obviously your desktop. You can download it on your iMac. You name it, you can download Linux. It's right there, right? You just hit the little button like you normally do, download, and you download it. All right. Now, or this is the other options because obviously I do teach. So you can use this on a Chromebook, which is super dope, actually. All right, so you can click this little button, and then obviously it'll launch it just like you'll launch any type of website. And after that, it'll pop up on your screen. So let's go ahead and get this over. Regardless if you're in browser, this one is downloaded actually to my Mac. I have one downloaded to my regular Windows laptops too. So all of this is the same. All right, now once you get started, and after you create your password, you are gonna have to know a couple things. They're gonna prompt you to they're gonna ask you a couple questions. Great job, GDevelop, for doing that, to help you navigate things. So again, if you're brand new, then just say you're brand new and they'll give you like a screen to match that you're brand new, and they'll walk you through the steps. If you're more seasoned, they'll give you a screen, right? Now, we're gonna go through and walk you through each one of these items today. I am gonna have it timestamped so you know which one you need to probably look at if you're trying to skip through some things because you already know certain things. But if you're brand new, you're gonna be so comfortable at the end of this, you're gonna be like, thank you for serving me. I'm like, you're welcome. Thank you, Jesus. Now let's get started. Now, once you get your account started, you already logged in. Again, this is what you'll be greeted with. You're gonna probably get this first. So start getting started, right? And obviously getting started, you can see it right now. They already have videos that you can watch. Now, this is super cool because, and shout out to Wesley for knocking out these videos. He does a great job. You'll see all his stuff. You'll see Wesley on there. So if you see it, you know that he's the man. Now, obviously build the next one. Now, why am I endorsing GDevelop so much? Because they come out with different templates. You'll say, what is the template? You probably heard about templates more if you use other software like Canva and stuff like that. Like, oh, this is like a preset already. It's already kind of like done for you. So they already have like platformers that are already done that you can kind of see how the game mechanics are in there, and we'll talk about what that looks like. And again, they'll go from simple to some of them are advanced. I mean the list goes on, and they have so many different types. You can purchase some of these as well. Some of the templates, if that's the type of game you are looking for, they are available on here, and I want to say some of them are available on itch as well, but it depends on. If you don't know what none of that is, don't worry, I'll tell you what it is eventually. So again, if you want to check some of these out, you can. And if you don't want to open them, you can open them as a project, or you can open them again in browser, and you can actually play them. We'll tell you about how you do that. The next part about this is just manage. That's just all the games you have, and it'll tell you about obviously managing them. And obviously you can click on that. We'll look at that a little later. Shop, this is where they give you assets. You're like, what the world is an asset? Like, assets is what your game is made of, right? And then obviously you're gonna code these assets to do something, right? Pretty simple. But again, I'll make sure you do it. Learn is pretty simple. They have different tutorials on how to create things. If you see these are all the ones you can do actually in GDevelop. Like they'll open GDevelop and then let you do it, and they'll tell you like, click this button, which is super cool. I think they did a good job on that. They also have where you can watch videos. And again, when I started out, I started watching these videos. I'm like, I'm trying to learn this thing real quick. They also have the part where you actually like publish your game, and you can play it, and you can also play other people's games as well. So obviously these are top played games. I mean, good gracious, 21,000 times been played. So again, if you're used to like cool math and stuff like that, then this is basically what it is. But it's just GDevelop games where people have created it and put it out there, or maybe you are something like maybe you're used to Scratch or something like that. All right, here's the community page. Obviously, you can go ahead and check it out. They got different communities for all the social media accounts that you have, so you can kind of get stuff for preference. Obviously, your preference, shortcut keys, all that good stuff. And then obviously, this is about GDevelop, and it's gonna take you back to the web page that I just showed you. All right, now let's go ahead and get started with this build, because we gotta learn this interface, UI, user interface, what the user interacts with. All right, so obviously, once you hit create a project, now you have two options. If you have a desktop or a laptop, you can save this on your computer. If you don't have it, you can save it in the cloud. You are limited to how much storage you have. So just know that if you try to create too many games, then it's gonna like flag you. But I'm gonna keep this in the cloud right now because it's not important. Project name is project name. They can give you random project names. You can do AI. Obviously, you just type in a prompt and they'll try to generate something for you. Obviously, this is new. It's only gonna get better over time. Just remember that. It's only gonna get better over time. You can authorize players. You probably don't know what that is. It's basically saying that you can just sign in with your GDevelop account. You can optimize pixel, but again, I'm gonna uncheck that for right now because that's not important. And before I go, obviously you probably seen where it said, let me show you this real quick. You probably seen where it says like mobile, desktop, and all this. These are just the different sizes of your canvas. So again, if you're just trying to do it for mobile, then this is what mobile is. You're trying to do it for, desktop, then obviously this is desktop. Or you're trying to do it for like a landscape phone, like you're playing sideways, like most of them you might play. Then that's what you do it for. Okay. So once you get on here, this is what you're gonna be greeted with. Now we're gonna work from this way and work our way over. All right. So the first part is the project manager. That's just basically the properties of it. Right, so this is, you can rename your game, you can give a description, author, you can change the landscape. All this happens in here. So again, if you have anything to do with your game properties, then that's where it'll be from. If you want to load the loading screen, and again, this will make more sense when you're trying to like finish it. You will start seeing gold and silver memberships, and that's just giving you like bigger storage, and they give you other things. But again, we'll talk about that later because that's not really that important for this one. Icons are icons. Obviously, once you get ready to publish your game, you're going to need icons. We'll talk about how to actually create them. You can use a free, if you're a student, then obviously use Canva. It's the easiest way to like create a thumbnail. And then you probably got a lot of different options with it. All right, global variables. If you don't know what a variable is, we'll talk about a variable as we get to it. But this is where that will be at. Resources is everything that is in your game. It will show up here. So if you played games before, you probably know levels, but levels and the word scenes are identically the same. I'm gonna use scene because that's what the terminology is. So every scene that you have, so if you have a menu, that's a scene. If you have some type of action or shooting, that's a scene. If it goes to a different level, that's a different scene. And so all your scenes will be here. Extensions make life easy. So obviously they already have extensions. They already have like, instead of trying to create the code over and over, then your extensions will be right here if you have them in your game. External events, obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. And obviously external layers. Again, these things, they will be right here. When we do it, you'll say, okay, that makes sense. Just sometimes when we talk about the UI or the user interface, it's just about where this stuff is at, so that when it's time to click on them, you can click on them. All right. So obviously they have basically an open version history. I want to say that's new now, but I may be wrong. But if it is, I feel like that's new. Yeah, it has to be new. Right. So obviously, if you need to go back to like an older history, and again, if you have a subscription, then obviously you can do it, which is really good job. Good job, GDevelop. Saves your project. Obviously, I'm gonna save it because we need to save it. Preview. Obviously, show your project. Now that it's being shown, you can see what that is. Obviously, we have that there. This is where GDevelop kind of goes above and beyond. You can share your published work so many places. Again, you can share it on the GD game store. You can share it on your browser. You can obviously share it on your desktop. mobile, you name it. I want to say you're only able to, yeah, you're only able to do 2 per day. Okay, whatever. That's pretty dang on good. You know what I'm saying? You can invite people. Obviously, again, you need a subscription for that. But again, we'll talk about how to kind of use some things that GDevelop gives you to get subscriptions for a low cost. All right. But again, you don't have to do it because it's free and open source. All right. Now that we did all that stuff, now this is the other side of it. Now I'm gonna uncheck these because some of you all are gonna freak out. So what is this? This is an object panel, right? So this is where you actually bring your objects. I mean, it's pretty simple. What is an object? I'm gonna click on it. It says add a new object. An object can be anything. It can be a sprite. It can be a tile sprite, panel sprite, text, buttons, you name it. All this is objects. All right. And I'm going to put one on the screen for right now so we can kind of, obviously you can name it. Do you have behaviors? We'll talk more about this when we start creating the characters, variables, effects. But again, if you don't have one on your screen, this is where the asset store comes on. So again, I'm just going to add an asset on here. Here, I'll just get this little goober guy. All right, I'm going to throw him on the scene right quick. All right, boom. Literally, your first creation. You also can group your assets. That button will be right here. And then obviously this right here is all your groups. So one square is just singular objects. And obviously the multi-square are the group objects. Pretty simple. All right. The next one is just your properties. So each time you have a sprite, it has a properties. So it'll have an X coordinate, it'll have a Y coordinate, it'll have the angle that it's at. It'll take the Z order. The lower the number, the more it'll be in the back. The higher the number, the more it'll be on top. It'll tell you the layer that it's on. Obviously, it'll tell you the width and the height. So if I adjust this, right, it's going to adjust the width and the height. It's going to say the animation, and then obviously it's going to have everything else that's on it. All right, and that's the properties. The next one is the instant list panel. That's just saying what's on your screen. We only have one thing on the screen, and so that is where that'll be at. And again, don't be afraid right now if you're looking at this to click it and click it out. Like, you're not gonna harm it at all. Really not. Like, it's really not that simple. All right, next one is just your layers. So again, layers, again, we'll talk more about that when we actually create like a UI layer, or you have like a health bar and stuff like that. You'll be done on different layers. Your background will be on a different layer. And you'll see why that's important as you start your game dev journey. All right, this next one, obviously, it just shows the mask, so you can see the camera. You can see the grid for all the people who needed it to grid. So again, that's everything that we have on this one. You do have an undo button, so you can undo, you can redo. Obviously, again, you can zoom in and zoom out. You can hit just control and the plus button. Or command plus, command minus. You can do it with your scroll wheel too, depending on if you want to do that or not. Obviously, you can trash your stuff, or you can just hit, again, backspace. Control Z will bring it back. It's pretty simple. And obviously, this right here will open the settings to it. And again, you click on here. This has variables. And again, if you know what a variable is, we'll talk about a variable as we do our first platformer game. All right. Now, the last thing that's on here, and then we'll be done for this entry tutorial, we'll be done with this entry UI so you can know where everything's at. And again, don't be afraid to click and click out. And again, if you have your mouse, you can see like the different ones. So I'm like, oh man, I need to see this. Obviously, there it is. You know, oh, it's gone. Let's click it back, right? Most of the time, it's gonna look like this. These are like the 3 kind of major ones. All right. Next is just your events. This is where the coding is at. So this right here is where you build kind of the game, right? As far as how it looks and all that good stuff. And then this is where you code it at. So this is your event sheet. Your event sheet, again, you add an event, and then obviously it starts doing it. It'll say add a condition. Then obviously you add whatever condition you want. Again, if you don't know anything about this, it's okay. They have a video. Use the video. And the cool thing about the video is, it's only like 5 minutes. So again, if you're a person who don't like to wait, it's literally 5 minutes. All right. Now, obviously, it'll have a condition and then some type of action to go along with it. So if it's touching something, then it's going to do something. All right. Last things, obviously, is you can add an event. You add a sub event, right? So if this is action, then it can do something else. You can add a comment. You can add all these different things. Again, here's the JavaScript code. If you want to add that, there it is for you to add it. Obviously, it's going to go ahead and put the code in there that you want, which is super duper helpful for all those who love that. Again, they have, you can link external events. So again, the page that we saw, you can link that to this page. You can repeat it. Again, there's so much you can do with this. And again, it's all logic based. So you can do it this way, but again, you can also just use over here and then say, well, if this is colliding with something, then you want it to do X, Y, and Z, and it will do it. All right. Again, you can trash this stuff. If you don't like it, click on this, trash it, right? I can undo my trash. I can redo my trash. I can search up different things I want to search up. And this is all on this one. I can close this if you don't want to see it. All right. And so basically this is the entry of it, the game engine. The reason why, again, I'm choosing GDevelop to start this tutorial with is because most of your user interface is going to be exactly like this. And so you want to know how to how to navigate it, especially when you watch tutorials, so that you can feel confident in maneuvering around the scene. So again, if I have this and, you know, just God forbid it deletes, you don't be like, oh man, like what the world? Or say for instance, like, you know, I'm gonna zoom out right quick. This right here is over here. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know where it's at. Like, how do I find it? I can literally just click on this button and say, oh man, where's this thing at? Oh, this thing is all the way over here. And as soon as I click on it, I can see it. And I can say, oh, all right, well, thank you then. I'm okay. I know where it's at. And I can just take it and say, all right, let me drag this back on the screen. Okay. All right. And so again, getting comfortable with your user interface is so important. Again, it doesn't matter if you use GDevelop, Godot, Unreal Engine, Unity, you name it. Like, you're gonna have to get used to knowing where things are at and how to maneuver them. All right, our next video is all about creating a level. Now again, this is beginning, so we're not gonna go too in depth, but just enough to get you started and get you on the way as you make masterpieces. Thank you for allowing me to serve you. God bless. Jesus love you. Later days.